بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين واللعنة الدائمة الأبدية على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى قيام يوم الدين. Assalamu alaikum, my beloved ones, wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We were discussing yesterday ruling number 138. There was a question that similar to the Hajj, like similar to the obligation of Umrah becomes obligatory on istita'a. For on whom? On those people who are not obligated to perform Hajj al-Tamattu'. Remember, we said Hajj al-Tamattu' is for those people who are coming from far away, and Hajj al-Tamattu' basically is associated with Umrah. So their wajib has been merged together, combined together. So it is not obligatory upon them, according to say the Sistani, and some scholars they have a few variances in this ruling. So according to say the Sistani, as long as you are obligated to perform Hajj al-Tamattu', you don't have to do Umrah al-Mufradah. But if you do it, then it will be a recommended Umrah. And he says, كذلك تجب كما تجب العمرة المفردة بالاستطاعة. As Umrah mufradah is recommended, becomes obligatory by being able to perform. There are other causes of obligation as well, which converts the recommendation to obligation, such as nadhr, making a vow, or half, making a qasam, or like swearing by God, I will do this, for example, or al-ahd, or covenant. أو غير ذلك. There was a question, what is this غير ذلك? Can you give us an example? Other cases where Umrah can become obligatory? Yes, I mean, whenever it is a condition in a binding contract. So, for example, let's say the wife says, my mahar, make my mahar be, let me just reduce this volume because this volume is causing some kind of, yes. Perfect. So, like nowadays, most of these mu'minin, mu'minat, when they get married, they make this condition that, say, if you're going to get married to me, then my mahar, I want it to be Hajj or Umrah, okay, or Ziyarah. So now, after marriage, once like with the marriage contract, this condition becomes binding. So if you get married, then you have to take her to Umrah. Or she says, see, I'm going to get married to you on a condition that you perform Umrah. Okay. So in this case, yes, Umrah becomes obligatory upon the husband. Why? Because it was a condition in a binding contract. Any contract which is binding, like say buying and selling, and marriage contract, hiring contract, any contract. So once you make a condition in a contract, I'm going to buy this car from you in this price, okay, on the condition that you do perform Umrah. Okay, so if the sale happens, then the Umrah becomes obligatory on that person. So this is what he meant by غير ذلك. I hope it's clear now. Okay, now what are the things Umrah al-Mufradah and Hajj they share with each other? So obviously Umrah and Hajj, they share a few things, such as the Ihram, entering the state of Ihram, Labbaik Allahumma Labbaik, that's 2. Tawaf around the Kaaba, that's 3. Intention is different, but they both are same. And then Tawaf around the Kaaba, and 2 rakat tawaf after the 2 rakat of tawaf after the tawaf, and then a sa'i between Safa and Marwa. And on Marwa, you do taqsir, you clip off your hair, and you can also shave off your head in Umrah al-Mufradah, but not in Tamattu, not the one with the Hajj, because you shave, the shaving is kept for the later, at the end of the Hajj. And then, so this is until now, this is common things. They both share. So where are the variances? The variances are ihram, number one. Ihram of Umrah al-Tamattu must be in one of those miqats designated for Umrah al-Tamattu. You can do ihram of Umrah mufradah in those miqats, but those are, so let me put it in another way. Umrah al-mufradah, you can do miqat in those designated places or in the border of the haram. Remember, border of the haram, we are going to show you the images inshallah in upcoming days. So border of the haram, border of Makkah, whenever you want to do Umrah Mufrada, second one, third one, fourth one, just take a taxi, go to this border of Masjid al-Tan'im and make intention and enter the state of Ihram, labbaik Allahumma labbaik, come back. So Umrah al-Mufrada has broader ruling for the miqat. That means it can be in the around the vicinities of Makkah, that border of the haram, or in those designated areas of Umrah al-Tamattu. Okay. What about Umrah al-Tamattu? Umrah al-Tamattu, ihram must be done in the miqat, the distant miqat designated by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, such as Juhfa, such as Masjid al-Shajara for those who are coming from Medina, Juhfa for those coming from north, not passing by Medina, and then coming from south, Yalamlam, coming from Yemen, or from the east, we have Qarn al-Manazil, Taif, or coming from Iraq, Dhat Irqin. So these are few designated miqat for Umrah al-Tamattu. So if you are passing by that miqat, you have to enter the state of Ihram there. You should not pass that miqat without entering the state of Ihram. And let's say if you are in Makkah and you did Umrah Mufrada and you stayed in Makkah, okay, let's say in Dhul Qa'ad, and now you want to do Umrah al-Tamattu because in Dhul Hajj, it is going to be the Hajj. So can you come out on the borders of Makkah? No. You have to go all the way where? In the miqat of Umrah al-Tamattu, the designated miqat by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam for Umrah al-Tamattu. That is number one difference. Okay, we're talking about the difference. Number two difference. Once you are done with Safa and Marwa, in Umrah Mufrada, you can shave off your head or you can do taqsir, clip off a little bit of hair here and a little bit of nail. But in Umrah Tamattu, you cannot shave off your head. Even though you will see some HAJJ in the Hajj, that they are not following school of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam. But if you see some of those who are following school of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam, they might not be following the mainstream maraja. Or even if you see those people who are following the mainstream maraja and they have done shaving by looking at others, as you see, then they are ignorant. So school of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam, you cannot shave off your head. You have to leave it for the Hajj. Leave the shaving. So that's why you clip. So that is the first one was the miqat issue. Second one was the shaving of the head. Okay. Not allowed in Umrah al-Tamattu, but allowed in Umrah al-Mufrada. The third one is tawaf of permissibility of women, tawaf of nisa, tawaf of women. So tawaf of women is obligatory for both men and women in Umrah al-Mufrada. So once you clip off your hair, everything which was haram becomes halal, permissible things, obviously. However, entertainment, spousal entertainment stays prohibited until someone does tawafun nisa. So once you have done your tawafun nisa, tawaf around the Kaaba with the intention, I am unlocking myself from the restrictions of the women, spousal restriction. And the women, they do also the tawaf to unlock themselves from the restrictions of the spousal relations with their husbands. Not just spousal relation, marriage contract, whatever is related to a spousal communication, spousal relations, private relations. So that becomes halal by performing a tawaf and nisa. In Umrah al-Mufrada, you need to do that. In Umrah al-Tamattu, no, there is no tawaf and nisa. So what happens? The spousal relations become halal, okay, without tawaf and nisa. Because tawaf and nisa of Umrah al-Tamattu is pushed back at the end with the Hajj. So can someone do the spousal relations between Umrah and Hajj? Umrah al-Tamattu, Hajj al-Tamattu? Yes, you can do. The Islam gave the permissibility, except for the second Khalifa. He prohibited spousal relations between Umrah al-Tamattu and Hajj al-Tamattu, because they used to come from Medina, and Medina is away from the vicinity of Makkah, more than 80 kilometers. So that's why that he prohibited. No. How can? It cannot be. But in school of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam, there are several indications and hadith that the tawaf in Nisa is not required. Once you clip off her hair in Umrah al-Tamattu or nail, so all these spousal relations, everything becomes halal except for the prohibitions of the haram itself, like uprooting the grass of haram, as we are going to discuss this in future. So as we can see here, that in Umrah al-Mufradah, what happens in Umrah al-Mufradah? Everything becomes halal except for the haram prohibitions and the spousal prohibitions. Until you do tawaf al-Nisa and the 2 rakat of tawaf al-Nisa, then spousal relations becomes halal, but uprooting the haram, as long as you are in the haram, you cannot hunt in the haram and you cannot uproot the grass or the tree of the haram. In Umrah al-Tamattu, once you do the clip of your hair or nail, everything becomes halal except for the prohibitions of the haram. Until the 8th of the Hajj, then you enter again the state of ihram. So can a husband and wife have their relations and they have not done tawaf al-Nisa and Umrah al-Tamattu? Yes, because their tawaf al-Nisa has been pushed and they have been given the permissibility to do their spousal relation, unlock themselves from the spousal restrictions of the spousal relations after doing the clipping of the hair. Okay, so these are the a few differences. We spoke about the miqat. Umrah al-Mufradah, Umrah al-Tamattu has more restricted miqat than Umrah al-Mufradah. We spoke about the shaving of the head. No, in Umrah al-Tamattu. Yes, in Umrah al-Mufradah. We spoke about Tawaf al-Nisa. And one more thing, Umrah al-Mufradah can be performed any time the whole year, entire year. And if you know Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam, when threat was there on him and he was going to perform Hajj, and he was in the state of Ihram, so 9th of the Hajj, he converted his Hajj to Umrah Mufradah and left Makkah. Okay, did not go to Arafat because there was a threat that they would kill him. So he converted his Ihram to Umrah al-Mufradah and left. So yes, anytime you can perform Umrah al-Mufradah, Muharram, Safar, Rabi' al-Awwal, Rabi' al-Thani. The best of the month is Rajab. That is Umrah al-Mufradah. Umrah al-Tamattu, however, only in the month of Hajj, Shawwal, Dhil Qa'ad, Dhil Hajj. So if you go at Makkah in the holy month of Ramadan, you cannot perform Umrah al-Tamattu because still the months of Hajj has not befallen. So month of Hajj starts from the Shawwal, from the Eid of Fitr after holy month of Ramadan. So it's 3 months, Shawwal, Dhil Qa'ad, Dhil Hajj. Whenever you want to do Umrah al-Tamattu and enter Makkah, you need to do it in Shawwal, Dhil Qa'ad, Dhil Hajj. So this is what he's trying to say here, the variances between the Umrah al-Tamattu and Hajj Umrah al-Mufradah. As you can see, he has numbered them. تشترك العمرة المفردة مع عمرة التمتع في أعمالها. There are common things in the actions or in the rituals or in the acts of عمرة المفردة and عمرة التمتع. So وسيأتي بيان ذلك. So the common things, he said, it will be mentioned later on. So what is going to be mentioned now? The variances, the differences, the points of variances, the points of differences. Number 1. إن العمرة المفردة يجب لها طواف النساء ولا يجب ذلك لعمرة التمتع. عمرة المفردة requires طواف النساء. It's obligatory that one performs طواف النساء. And it is not obligatory in عمرة التمتع, the Umrah of Tamattu. Number 2, إن عمرة التمتع لا تقع إلا في أشهر الحج وهي شوال وذو القعدة وذو الحجة. The umrah of tamattu does not happen, is not valid. Okay, umrah tamattu is not valid. That means it's just waste. إلا في أشهر الحج, except in the months of Hajj. And what are these months of Hajj? وهي, and these are Shawwal after Eid, which is the 10th of the lunar calendar, and Dhul Qa'dah, that's the 11th of lunar calendar, Dhul Qa'dah, and Dhul Hijjah, and the Dhul Hijjah, which is the 12th month, which is the month of Manasik al-Hajj. وتصح العمرة المفردة في جميع الشهور. And Umrah al-Mufradah is valid in all the months. وأفضلها, and جميع الشهور وأفضلها, and the best of it is شهر رجب, the month of Rajab. أفضلها شهر رجب. So the month of Rajab is the best. And there's narrations indicate that it's highly recommended if someone can do Umrah in the month of Rajab. Then let it be. That's why the school of Ahlul Bayt, the school of companion is the holy month of Ramadan. So you see, holy month of Ramadan, people are packed in Makkah from the school of companion, and in the month of Rajab, school of Ahlul Bayt are packed. Doesn't mean that school of Ahlul Bayt cannot do. You can do entire year. In entire year, the recommendation is there. Without any doubt, in the month of Ramadan, it is highly recommended. But more recommended is in the month of Rajab. So you can go in the holy month of Ramadan and do Umrah. Yes. Number 3, ينحصر الخروج. Yeah, this we did not mention. ينحصر الخروج عن الإحرام. No, we mentioned this. ينحصر الخروج عن الإحرام في عمرة التمتع بالتقصير فقط. Exiting the state of Ihram in Umrah of Tamattu' is limited only to taqsir, shortening, like clipping of the hair, clipping of the beard hair, mustache hair, nail clipping. However, الخروج عن الإحرام في العمرة المفردة يتحقق بالتقصير والحلق. And however, the exit from the state of Ihram in the Umrah of Mufrada happens by taqsir, clipping, and shaving the head. وبالحلق. والحلق أفضل. And shaving of the head is better, I mean, more rewardable. هذا بالنسبة إلى الرجال. This is for the men. Obviously, women, they can't shave their heads. So this is for the men, these variances. As for the women, there's no variances. So they have to do taqsir absolutely in every case, in Umrah al-Tamattu and Umrah al-Mufrada. Variance number 4. يجب أن تقع عمرة التمتع والحج في سنة واحدة على ما يأتي وليس كذلك في العمرة المفردة. Yeah, so remember those people who are living in Makkah or around Makkah in 80 kilometers, about 80 kilometers, we are going to know specifically later on. So these people, their wajib is Hajj al-Ifrad. And then after that, they have to do Umrah al-Mufrada, which we do anytime in the year. They do after the Hajj Umrah al-Mufrada, or they have to do one Umrah Mufrada in their lifetime and one Hajj al-Ifrad. Not associated, not necessarily associated the way we have to do in Umrah al-Tamattu, Hajj al-Tamattu. So for those people who are doing Umrah al-Mufrada and Hajj al-Ifrad, for them, it can be in different years. This year we did Umrah al-Mufrada, next year Hajj al-Ifrad, or vice versa. But those who are doing Umrah al-Tamattu', like people living far away, it has to be, both have to be done in 1 year. Hajj al-Tamattu' and Umrah al-Tamattu' and Hajj al-Tamattu'. So both has to be done in the same year. You cannot do Umrah al-Tamattu here and stay 1 year in the state of Ihram until next year, the year of the time of Hajj comes. You cannot do that. It has to be in the months of Hajj, and both has to be in the same year. So he says, يجب أن تقع عمرة التمتع والحج في سنة واحدة. It's obligatory to perform Umrah of Tamattu and Hajj التمتع obviously in 1 year, like same year. على ما سيأتي, as it will be mentioned. وليس كذلك في العمرة المفردة. And it is not unlike in Umrah al-Mufrada, independent Umrah. فمن وجب عليه حج الإفراد, so hence whoever is obligated to perform the independent Hajj or individual Hajj, Hajj al-Ifrad, والعمرة المفردة, and the independent Umrah or Umrah Mufrada, صح منه أن يأتي بالحج في سنة والعمرة في سنة أخرى. So it would be permissible, it would be valid from him to perform in 1 year Hajj of Ifrad obviously, and in another year Umrah al-Mufrada obviously. So Hajj al-Ifrad and Umrah al-Mufrada, those who are living close to Makkah, it can be done in different years. Number 5th variance. إن من جامع في العمرة المفردة عالما عامدا قبل الفراغ من السعي فسدت عمرته بلا إشكال. In this point, you need to focus on one point. We are talking about someone in Umrah al-Mufrada. If his Umrah, if he does some mistakes in his actions in Umrah al-Mufrada, he may be stuck in the Ihram. So he comes hometown and he comes to the Maulana and he says, Maulana, I did sa'i on the scooters on the top floor. Maulana will say, really? He said, yeah, it was nice. I was tired and exhausted. And there are scooters, because there are scooters on the Safa and Marwa on the upper floor. It's not haram, you can use, but the problem is you cannot do Safa Marwa from the top floor, based on Sayyid al-Khuwi and Sayyid Sistani Damullah and many other Maraja. So he was like excited and he was like, oh, I did on the scooter. So the Maulana says, go back home, wear your attire of Ihram and stay in the state of Ihram until someone does your sa'i and does the taqseer and does the tawaf al-nisa for you. How? Because his sa'i, Safa and Marwa was invalid. So if his Safa or Marwa was invalid, what happened? Then his taqseer was invalid. He did not come out of his Ihram. And if he did not come out of his Ihram and Safa or Marwa was not valid, then his Tawaf al-Nisa, Tawaf al-Women was invalid. So he's stuck in the Ihram. So go home, get yourself in the state of Ihram and avoid 25 things which are prohibitions of Ihram. It's not he and his wife, both of them did the same thing. So both of you separate yourself. So now they had to find someone who's going Umrah, or someone from there. Please help us out. Can you do Niyaba? We'll send you some money, Hadiyah, this and that. We'll send you the expenses. People in Medina, there's so many mu'minin in Medina. Please go and do this for us. We're stuck in our Ihram. So you get stuck in your Ihram. That is why we say, please, if you go to Hajj or Umrah, take a guide with you or follow the steps of guide. Learn the rulings of Hajj. Learn the rulings of Umrah, because it's not an entertainment safari trip or hiking trip or this and that. Many people, they go, oh, we're going to go Umrah this vacation. You know what? We enjoy Umrah. Baba, this is not like a trip of ziyarah. There are obligations and prohibitions in this trip. So if you are not aware of it, don't go Umrah. Otherwise, you'll stuck for your life and you will come back and you'll have relation with your wife and she's still haram on you. Then there's going to be a messed up situation with the progeny. So don't go for Umrah. Go visit the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. If you have not understood the rules of Umrah, don't go Makkah. Just go Medina al-Munawwara. As you go to Karbala and Mashhad, go visit the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Fatima al-Zahra salamullah alayha, and Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba, Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam, Imam Muhammad al-Baqir, Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, and al-Banin, and other noble ones there. You don't have to go. It's not wajib for you to do Umrah. You go there without knowledge and you get stuck into ihram and you come back hometown, you wear those white clothes. I have to go to my work. You have to go with your white clothes in your work. You have to go to my university, wear white clothes and go to the university. So don't do that kind of blundered mistakes. That's a big problem we are facing, that people, they go Umrah like they're going to ziyarat and entertainment trips. So please learn the wajibat, learn the do's and don'ts. Some of them, they will be precautious. Those people who are hyperbolic, irfani people, dua of this, I have to do dua of that, dua this, dua that. Papa, these are recommendations. Do you know what wajib you have to do? What obligations you have to do? What obligatory act? No. Then what are you going to do? I mean, you're going to mess up with your umrah. If you have entered the state of ihram, and your tawaf is wrong, your salat al-tawaf is wrong, and your wudu is wrong, and your taqsi and your scooter sa'i is wrong, then you are stuck in ihram. But if your ihram was wrong, lucky for you. Let's say you did not say labbaik. Let's say you did not do proper intention. Let's say you did not become ihram in the proper miqat. Then, alhamdulillah, it's easier. Your ihram is messed up. That means tawaf, right, wrong, you're not stuck. So when you come back hometown, alhamdulillah, you're not stuck. The only thing is kiss your umrah goodbye. So there was no umrah. Okay? Why? Because the ihram was wrong. So this is better. Your ihram is wrong. You do manasik wrong. Everything is wrong. Nothing. You are okay when you come back home. But if you do ihram right, you get stuck into the ihram. And you cannot get out of it unless you do the taqsir and the tawaf al-nisa. And your tawaf al-nisa will not be valid unless you do taqsir. And your taqsir will not be valid unless you do sa'i between Safa and Marwa. Okay? And your sa'i will not be valid unless you do proper tawaf and 2 rakat tawaf. So they're all linked like a chain. If one breaks, the whole thing becomes messed up. If like sa'i becomes messed up, then at least your tawaf is okay. You need to send somebody to do sa'i between Safa and Marwa and taqsir and tawaf and nisa. Obviously, taqsir he will do on your behalf, and you will do in your hometown. He will call you, khalas, I'm done tawaf sa'i, Safa Marwa. Okay, uqassiru lil ihlal min ihram al-umrah al-mufradah. And as a precautionary measure, both of them, they do taqsir. That guy does taqsir niyaba on behalf. So I hope this is clear. If you have your friends, family members, please let them know. Mess up with the ihram, that's fine. Everything is gone. But don't mess up with your a'mal. You get stuck inside the ihram. You come home, then you go like Dalai Lama or some of these Buddhists wearing this sari, which is they wear like the orange thing, toga or something like that. You're going to wear the white towels and go to the work. Hi, boss. What are you? Are you thinking you're Makkah? Are you crazy? So yeah, this is what happens. So basically, this is Umrah al-Mufradah. What about Umrah al-Tamattu? Umrah al-Tamattu must be done in Hajj. If it gets messed up, khalas, the whole thing gets messed up from A to Z. When you come back hometown, you're not stuck in the ihram. That's the difference between Hajj al-Tamattu, Umrah al-Tamattu and Umrah al-Mufradah. Umrah al-Mufradah, whenever you do it, your ihram is okay. Some of your amal or obligatory acts are not okay. You're stuck in it. Umrah al-Tamattu, no. Once the month of Dhul Hajj has passed, you're free automatically. The ihram becomes invalid and the umrah becomes invalid. Let's see. يجب أن تقع عمرة التمتع والحج في سنة واحدة. We said this. We're doing number 5. إن من جامع في العمرة المفردة عالما عامدا قبل الفراغ من السعي فسدت عمرته بلا إشكال. If someone performs a private spousal relation act, okay, in the state of Umrah al-Mufrada, knowingly, deliberately, before completing the sa'i, unlocking the ihram. This is an Umrah al-Mufrada. فسدت عمرته بلا إشكال. His Umrah will become invalid, totally, without any doubt, because he has not completed his sa'i. ووجبت عليه الإعادة بأن يبقى في مكة إلى الشهر القادم فيعيدها فيه. Remember, one Umrah per person in one lunar calendar. So what should he do? Okay, his Umrah is messed up. So he has to redo his Umrah. So he has to stay in Makkah, okay, until next lunar month enters. Then he go out in one of these miqat and perform the ihram and come back to Makkah and do his a'mal of Umrah, manasik of Umrah. So he says, so this guy who did the private relations before he completes his sa'i, and this rule applies for somebody who messed up in his sa'i and he comes hometown and he has his private relations with his wife or with her husband, for example. Then he has to redo his a'mal. ووجبت عليه الإعادة بأن يبقى في مكة. He needs to stay in Makkah إلى الشهر القادم, until the next lunar calendar enters. فيعيدها فيه. Then he redoes the Umrah in that next month, because he entered the state of Ihram, he messed up with this Umrah in this month. Okay, so he can't do now another Ihram in this month. Stay in Makkah until next lunar calendar enters. Then you go do your border of the Haram, enter the state of Ihram, and come back to Makkah and repeat the whole Umrah back again. So this is where Umrah al-Mufrada. What about Umrah al-Tamattu? Umrah al-Tamattu, Sayyidi Sistani says the ruling is different. We are going to mention about it. Okay. وَأَمَّا مَنْ جَامَعَ فِي عُمْرَةِ التَّمَتُّعِ. He's in the state of Ihram of Umrah of Tamattu, and he performs the spousal private relations with his wife. فَحُكْمُ غَيْرُ ذَلِكَ. And the ruling of that person is different, okay, not similar. And this will be, he says, mentioned in ruling number 220. Ruling number 220. Okay. This ruling, we also mentioned about the miqat. Miqat of Umrah al-Mufrada is more broader, from the border of the Haram till the designated. Miqat of Umrah al-Tamattu is only the designated miqat. So ruling number 140 says, يجب الإحرام للعمرة المفردة من نفس المواقيت التي يحرم منها لعمرة التمتع. Okay. Ihram al-Mufrada, entering the state of Ihram for Mufrada, or entering the state of Ihram of Mufrada, the independent Ihram, is done from the same miqat, okay, which someone who performs Umrah al-Tamattu enters. So from the same miqat from which the person who's going to perform Umrah al-Tamattu enters the state of Ihram. وَيَأْتِي بَيَانُهَا. He says, and this will be mentioned later on. نعم, however, إذا كان المكلف في مكة, if the responsible person was in Makkah, وأراد الإتيان بالعمرة المفردة, and he wanted to perform the Umrah of Mufrada, independent Umrah, جاز له أن يحرم من أدنى الحل. It will be permissible for him to enter the state of Ihram from the closest spots of miqat, like around the border of the haram. Like what? Such as Al-Hudaybiyah, Wal-Ju'rana, Wat-Tan'im. Wat-Tan'im is the closest. That's why it's 7 or 8 kilometers away from the haram. So that's why most of the people go to Tan'im, and it's called Masjid Aisha as well, based on an incident happened. وَلَا يَجِبُ عَلَيْهِ الرُّجُوعُ. The person in Umrah, that's the difference between Umrah al-Mufradah. He doesn't have to go to the designated miqats, the distant miqats, and enter the state of ihram from there. وَلَا يَجِبُ عَلَيْهِ الرُّجُوعُ إِلَى الْمَوَاقِيتِ وَالْإِحْرَامُ مِنْهَا. Okay. So, but however, there's an exemption. ويستثنى من ذلك من أفسد عمرته المفردة بالجماع قبل السعي فإنه يجب عليه الإحرام للعمرة المعادة من أحد المواقيت ولا يجزي الإحرام من أدنى الحل على الأحوط وجوبا كما سيأتي ruling number 223. So he says that if Umrah al-Mufradah, you can enter the state of ihram from the designated miqats when you're coming into Saudi Arabia. And then if you're in Makkah, you want to do another umrah, you go to this adna al-hil, the proximate miqat, or the border of the haram, the miqat, the proximate, the close miqat. However, but umrah tamattu, if you're in Makkah for umrah al-Mufradah, let's say in Shawwal or Dhul Qa'dah, now you want to do Umrah al-Tamattu. You cannot do it from the vicinity of Makkah, surrounding Makkah, border of Makkah. You have to go to the designated miqat. This is the difference. But then there's one exceptional case. What is that exceptional case? He said, وَيُسْتَثْنَى مِنْ ذَلِكَ مَنْ أَفْسَدَ عُمْرَتَهُ الْمُفْرَدَ بِالْجُمَعَةِ قَبْلَ السَّعِي. You have not completed the sa'i between Safa and Marwa, and you have your private spousal relations with your wife. Then you kiss your Umrah goodbye. So this person needs to redo the Umrah Mufradah. From where will he redo the Umrah Mufradah? Not from the surrounding areas of Makkah. No, the border of Makkah. He will have to go, because he did a messed up situation. He had his private spousal relation in the state of ihram, and he has not completed the sa'i. Okay? People say, how can that happen? Like, he's in Makkah. How can he have his spousal relation in public? Or wait, it happens how you can separate between the tawaf and the sa'i one day. If you do in the morning, you cannot do sa'i next day. But there is flexibility to keep a gap between tawaf and salat al-tawaf. You go home and rest. And then you come back evening time, you're tired, exhausted, this and that, and you're still in the state of ihram. You go home, sleep, relax, come back evening or whenever you want to feel in the same day and do the sa'i between Safa and Marwa. So now you got where can a person, husband and wife did their tawaf, they got exhausted, tired, let's go home. They ate some garlic or I don't know, whatever stuff, and then now they're sleeping and whoopsie daisy, private relation. So they haven't done sa'i. They are in between the tawaf and the sa'i. So they are in the state of ihram. That's the case we are talking about. Man afsada umratahu al-mufrada bil-juma'. Whoever spoils or invalidates his umrah of independent or umrah al-mufrada through having private relations qabla sa'i, before performing the sa'i between Safa and Marwa, فإنه يجب عليه الإحرام, because his ihram got messed up. He has to go back to miqat. Which miqat? Not surrounding. عليه الإحرام للعمرة المفردة المعادة. He has to re-enter the state of ihram, which is for to redo the umrah mufrada min ahad al-mawaqit, from one of the designated miqats. ولا يجزيه الإحرام من أدنى الحل, and it will not be sufficient for him to enter the state of ihram from the closest, from the border of Makkah, or from the proximate miqats, okay, around Makkah, on the basis of obligatory precaution, as it will be explained in ruling number 223. So obligatory precaution, that means if somebody cannot go, or somebody wants to do the miqat, then he has to refer to another marja in this ruling. Who's next in A'lam? Okay. I'll leave these two rulings for tomorrow, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. So as you all know that our time is changed because there was a clash between the Maghrib and the time of this, and most of um, our followers, they prefer this time because this time they are relaxing at home and before sleeping, and maybe it's a like bedtime story for them. Once they get bored, they close their eye and they sleep. So anyhow, inshallah, we'll continue tomorrow. Wa akhiru da'wan alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.